Greetings, it is I, Tentus Naravan Dracovin, Lord and Emperor of the Dracovin Empire, and welcome. It is time to continue my discussion on the clans and bloodlines of Vampire the Masquerade, the World of Darkness. We've been moving through a lot of the more interesting bloodlines. Let's continue with another bloodline that has an unknown origin, the Impundulu. So the Impundulu are a bloodline of vampires from Africa. They are one of the legacies of Laibon, but only known to exist during the Dark Ages. They were bonded to a coven of witches. They have the disciplines of necromancy, fortitude, and potence. So the story goes that Impundulu was a powerful necromancer who was married to a powerful witch known as Bumkaze. The two of them would practice their trades. But one day, Impundulu summoned a powerful spirit, too powerful for him to control. The spirit broke free from him and struck him down. He was buried, and Bumkaze mourned for him, mourned for the loss of her husband. But the next night, Impundulu rose again. It is assumed that part of the spirit's essence dove into him and allowed him to rise as a vampire, a monster. Bumkaze recognized that he was a monster, and Impundulu offered to bring her to become one of him, that the two of them would then be eternal life together. But Bumkaze resisted, declined. The two of them were like sun and moon, never quite together, night and day. But Bumkaze, recognizing that he was now a monster, could not leave her husband. She still loved him. She still wanted to be with him. Now years went on, and Bumkaze desired a child. Impundulu could not give Bumkaze a child. He was dead. She thought maybe perhaps with another mortal, but Impundulu resisted this. Eventually they enacted powerful dark magic and rituals that allowed Bumkaze to conceive. A young girl was born. A girl born between life and death. Isona, a revenant. Now, here is where the legacy of both of these now bloodlines comes into play. Isona, when she came of age, decided to voluntarily give her blood to the childer of the Laibon, the childer of Impundulu, in order to support them. Because this powerful ritual between life and death had permanent repercussions on both bloodlines. Isona and her bloodline would be immune to the blood bond, could never be bonded. And Impundulu and his bloodline gained the weakness that they could only gain sustenance from Isona and her bloodline. And the two of these became known as the Impundulu group and the Bumkaze witches. The Impundulu vampires and the Bumkaze witches, eternally bonded. The Bumkaze were known to be in the region of Southeast Africa, tending to be away from people and keeping out a lot of the mess and the problems within politics within that area. They would be, of course, accompanied by a number of Impundulu with them. The two of them would be bonded together. Wherever the Bumkaze would go, the Impundulu would follow. Both of them together would go to areas where they would hear about magics and necromantic powers, and wander and find information, learn more. One of the eventual problems that had arisen within the witches' culture, though, was the fact in order to keep this blood bond powerful, much inbreeding actually ended up being needed, and that was doing problems with the bloodline for one thing, or delusion of the bloodline, which also created problems, that if it was diluted too much, then, well, once again you'll have problems. So it was this, we have a single individual being the source of all of this blood. Yes, so delusion and inbreeding were two major problems facing these witches in order to keep them properly bonded with the Impundulu. Now each Impundulu was bonded with a Bumkaze. The fact is this was a companionship. So if the Impundulu treated the Bumkaze like a servant, well, they were in trouble because they need the blood from that one, and that's a powerful witch, so you're not going to be able to force it out of them. The fact is, this relationship had to be a mutual one. If there was problems between the two of them that was more on a personal level, rather than just treating them badly, then the Bumkaze were usually nice enough that they would arrange for another Bumkaze to bond with the Impundulu, one that would be better suited for them. This was a truly voluntarily relationship on the Bumkaze's part. They effectively got powerful vampire allies in response of this relationship between the two of them. It benefited both of them. Powerful supernatural being on your side protecting you. Now, the exact nature of these relationships between these varied. It could be sometimes lovers, more like parents and child, siblings. It would depend on the individuals, how their relationships would develop, how the bond between them would develop. Now, Impundulu would embrace from two main groups. First off, those too sick to be of use to society, but with too much will to live to die off. Those that are in a situation where they're completely crushed and crippled and in facing death, but falling and facing against it and succeeding on this battle against it. Or those with necromantic prowess. The fact is that both of these groups effectively have touched death in a way, and because of that they are proper for Impundulu. They recognize it. It is important to note that no Bumkaze willingly, voluntarily, would become an Impundulu. Of course, forcing it upon them is not something that could really be done, but the actual process, none of them ever asked for it. Of course, we have discussed the Impundulu's weakness. They needed sustenance from the Bumkaze. The fact is that because of this, the two groups were allies, powerful allies. But this relationship also fostered their organization. They were never majorly organized. Neither group was. They were very much more individualistic. This doesn't mean that they didn't connect with each other and have networks. Most of the time, this networks was to share information. That the Bumkaze would share information on their witchcraft and the Impundulu on their necromancy. The fact is that when things began to get bad, both groups sought out information in order to refresh the bloodline, and even went to other kindred, went to others of the Laibon, and even possibly to Europe at the time, during the Dark Ages. But nothing seemed to solve the problems of their, inbreeding or diluting bloodline that would save the Impundulu. It is said that Impundulu himself, the founder, he just let himself deteriorate away after the Dark Ages. He felt that it was time for death to finally take him. And after that, the seemingly bloodline fell apart and disappeared, died off, faded into nothingness. It is hard to say exactly what happened, but they're gone. And we haven't heard from them since the Dark Ages. But that's it for today. I introduced you to Impundulu, an interesting bloodline of vampires, for they were bonded with powerful witches, the Bumkaze. These two groups together formed powerful groupings. The two, a witch and a vampire, safe from much danger, from pretty much any danger that could face against them. Sometimes it would be multiple witches and just one vampire. Sometimes it would be switched up. They were always bonded together as allies, as some form of family. The exact bond depended on the groups, and if there was clashes, they would usually change up the groups, because they could. And the only problem is delusion of that blood, delusion of the connection between the two of them, led to the Impundulu's downfall, because they needed the Bumkaze to survive, needed them. When the bloodline of the Bumkaze began to disappear, too much inbreeding, delusion of the blood, so did the Impundulu. And their race against the clock to solve this problem seemingly failed. We have not heard from them since the Dark Ages. Whether somewhere some of them survived, found a way to survive. As far as we know, they have not. That their organizations fell apart. That they just have gone to the mists, to the annals of time. Beyond that, unknown. But if you have any questions, comments, anything you want to say, anything you think I left out, please leave in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe. It shows support the channel, the Empire, the work I do. If you want to show some extra support, you can always check out my Patreon, link to the description below. There's some great rewards there. It helps to grow and improve the channel and the Empire. Regardless, until the next time, I bid you farewell.